So number 11 says, in the equations above, B and C represent the price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken. Okay, so we have the beef at $2.35 plus 0.25x and C, right? So B for beef, chicken, C for chicken, plus 0.40x. Okay. Respectively, X weeks after July 1st during last summer. So this is saying that last summer, these were the prices for beef and chicken so many weeks after July 1st, okay? What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken? So who thinks they can figure out what we're gonna do here? Yes, Angie.
Set them equal to each other?
Exactly, right? It says when were they equal. So if I'm given two equations, I'm going to want to set them equal to each other. Now, this is where we have to kind of remember, because first period, totally forgot multiplying and dividing with decimals, right? But we're going to have to do it here. There's no calculator on this part. So we have to try and remember. So, yes, now it's like the same thing we were doing before. I combine all my x's with my x's, all my non-variables with non-variables. Now, the key to doing problems like this, right, we all want to make our lives easier. I'm pretty sure no one says, I want to do the harder things in math. So what we're going to do is we look at my numbers, and I'm going to try and get it so that all of them stay positive. I don't want to have to look at a negative in this problem at all, okay? So first ones I want to move are my non-variables. So that 2.35 and 1.75. Which is going to be the smarter one to move?
1.75.
1.75, right? Because if I subtract 1.75 from 2.35, I will still stay in the positives. So that's going to cancel out. Now, 2.35 minus 1.75, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, no calculator. So 5 minus 5 is 0. I have to borrow from my 2. 13 minus 7 is? You guys still have to participate a little bit here.
6.
6. Thank you, Gray. I think Angie said it afterwards. 1 minus 1 is 0. So I go ahead, I write in my 0.60 plus 0.25x equals 0.40x, okay? Now I want to go ahead and now move that 2.5 over to that 0.4, 0.40, same thing, right? So once again, subtracting, I'm going to change colors. I think I'm going to change colors every time, but it's very annoying because they only let me pick 3 colors at a time. So whatever. So 0.25x minus 0.25x, that's going to be 0. That leaves me with a 0.60 on its own. And once again, old-fashioned way, borrow from my 4. That becomes 3. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 2 is just 1. And 0 is just 0. So far, so good? It's pretty simple, right? Remember I told you the no calculator questions are probably going to be easier than the calculator ones because they're not giving you a calculator. They're not going to make you do some crazy giant numbers because you're not a robot. So I'm now going to divide by 0.15 to both sides like I always do. And now we have to do the old-fashioned. My first period, they said, Miss, how do you divide without the calculator, the decimals? And I go, the old-fashioned way, right? We all remember the little house, 0.15 on the outside. So we all know that's, so the other way you can do this as well is just doing 60 divided by 15 and working with the decimals afterwards. But we're going to do it this way, right? So I know nothing is going to go into that 0. I'm going to put my decimal point there. 15 does not go into 6, right? Because technically I should have this here. That shouldn't be there. So it doesn't go into 6. So I need to add an extra 0 to the end of that decimal. And now 15 goes into 60 how many times? Now we got to go over the side. Not 60, 15. Does anyone?
4?
It is 4. But if you don't know that off the top of your head, and you probably had more time while I was writing everything out to test it, my best advice to you is if you don't know it off the top of your head and you have to sit here and do 15 times whatever, 15 times whatever until you get there, my advice is always start with 2 and 5, right? Because everyone knows their 2 is pretty fast. Everyone knows their 5 is fast. If you do 2 and the number is too low, you go up. If you do 5 and it's too high, you can go down. See what I'm saying? You pick the easier numbers to work with and then figure out if you have to go higher or lower. Okay, so it is 4. We don't have to do all the work there. 4 times 5 was 20. Just so you guys can see, 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 2 is 60. So that gives me my answer. Am I done? No. Why? Because the question says, what was the price? So now I have to take this 0.04 and plug it into one of my equations. Which one do we want to try it out with? Pick. Beef or chicken? All right, chicken. I was hoping we were going to say chicken because I was going to make us do chicken anyway. First period, pick beef. So all right, the chicken is 1.75 plus 0.40 x. Now we know my x is equal to 0.04. So I could go ahead and just replace that. Okay. Now I have to do the math over there. So 0.40 times 0.04. Now this should be just a refresher because we should all remember how to multiply by decimals. My advice is do the decimals at the end of your multiplication. Do your regular multiplication like you're used to. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 0 is 0, plus that 1 is a 1. Now I'm putting in my extra 0, so I can now do this one. 0 times 0. Everything is going to be 0. And I have to do my second 0. And then once more, 3 more zeros. Now when I add them up, I'm going to draw my lines so I don't get confused because it happened in first period. All my zeros add up. My 6, my 1, and then 2 more zeros. Now in case I forgot, move my desk, I always move it the amount of digits after the decimal in the entire multiplication process. So I had 1. Oh, you guys still see my screen? No? Yes? No? Something is happening. It told me that that it stopped sharing. Let me see. Hang on. Let me rejoin. I can see my screen, but it just randomly told me you got kicked out. So I don't want that. Yeah, you know what? It did kick me out because I wrote in my pink color. And now I can't see my pink color. You guys, now it's not sharing again. Okay, I know what I'm doing. Technology. This is great. That being said, in my geometry class, you guys should have seen my shapes and my graphs because I could do it. See, I did write in pink, so that's what you guys weren't seeing, right? So back to it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after a decimal in my entire multiplication process. So remember, your decimal is always at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm at 1.75 plus 0.016. I don't have to write that extra 0 at the end because it doesn't really matter. Okay. That 6 really is my last number. All right. Now I just add that up. So if you are like me and like to line things up, you can go ahead and write it down at the bottom. Just makes my life easier. And I'll even do my grid. That's terrible. That's too small. Yeah, that's fine. That works. So 6 plus 0 is just 6. 5 plus 1 is 6. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 1. So we have what? 1.766. Or that should round up. That's not any of the up. Oh my gosh, I asked you guys the wrong question. See, you guys didn't check with your book. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to chicken? So we did some extra work, but that's okay. We can just forget this ever happened, right? See, life lessons. Always reread the question. It happens to everyone, including Miss Perdomo, because she doesn't always acknowledge things. But it's the same steps. We all know how to multiply by the decimals, right? You guys can nod. Okay, I'm going to use the calculator because I think we wasted enough time. We reviewed it with the chicken. So, you know, it's not like we're going blind. But I don't want to waste too much time. So oh wait, I already have it. 2.35. When this is multiplied, it equals 0.01. We add it up together. That gives me a 2.36. That should be one of the answers. And that is what? That's not there either. What? Did I do it wrong?
Is it possible that we did the multiplication of x wrong? Because I checked in my calculator and it said that 0.60 divided by 0.15 is 4, not 0.04.
It might have been that. I might have done it the incorrect way. I might have been thinking ahead with the multiplication. Wait. Yes, it looks like that's what happened. I was thinking ahead with the multiplication and added an extra 0. So it should be 0.04. But that's okay. We make mistakes. That gives me a 0.1. And now we have the right answer. We should have the right answer. Okay, let me go through this properly so I don't just rush through and make a bunch more mistakes. Oh, it's 4.
Yeah, it's just 4, not 0.6.
It's just 4. I was like, wait a second. That's where things went wrong. See, this is why I said 15 divided by 60. That gives you 4. Okay? So it is 4. I can come over here and I have to fix all this. I think the same issue happened in first period, but we ran out of time and we didn't really check over that problem. So 4 times 0.25 is just 1. Now that gives us what? 3.35. So this is what happens when Ms. Perdomo doesn't review the problems beforehand and we just go for it. We're gonna make mistakes, right? But that's why I tell you guys to always take your time and check your work, because as you to me as well. Especially with the no calculator, you can easily slip up on those things that you should be simple to remember, but because you're so used to using the calculator, you forget it. And then that's where mistakes happen, okay? So, by the way, you guys need to let me know when it's time to go, because I don't have my schedule with me. It's in that room in front of Angie, and I can't remember the times now. So, Angie, I do not have bionic eyes. I cannot read that. So we have to move on, but you guys have to let me know. Okay, so my final answer was D. This is answer D. The next one. A line in the XY plane passes through the origin and has a slope of 1/7. So now you guys get to be impressed, okay? Because you cannot make fun of me anymore when you see this. Voila. Right? Can't make fun of me anymore. So, first thing is, it says passes through the origin. Which point is my origin? 0, 0. You guys can use the chat to type it in if you don't want to unmute. But my origin is right here. I'm going to use a different color. Oh no, I need to get off. Get off of that. There it is. That is my 0, 0. Okay. Now it tells me my slope is equal to 1/7. So what is slope again?
Y equals mx plus b.
That's the slope intercept formula. But I don't have the slope intercept formula. So I'm looking for 2 R's that we all know and love. Andrew, are you trying to mime it?
No, sorry, I was cracking my fingers. But rise and run. Rise over run.
Rise over run. That's what I was looking for. So rise over run. So what I'm going to do, I have my 0, 0. Remember, when you graph, you should have at least 3 points. That makes it probably a little bit more accurate. So I'm going to go up 1 and 7 to the right. Everything is positive, so it's just up and to the right. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my second point. At 7, 1. I froze. There we go. I'm going to do another point. Again, up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's my other point at 14, 2. Yes? We see that? Now, let's see if I can do this. Come on. I need this on my whiteboard. This is what I need. Then you guys can't make fun of me as much. Unless I have to draw something. Then you guys can. So, which of the following points lies on the line? So if you don't want to sit there, I wanted to take advantage of the fact that I have this graph to show you guys. But if you don't want to sit in your SAT and draw your own little graph, just do a t-table, X and Y. X and Y table, right? They tell me the origin, they tell me the slope. I can figure out the slope without a graph, right? I just have to move over to the right 7 and up 1. Move over 7 more. And move over 1. Okay. So which one lies on the graph?
D.
D, 14, 2. And you can see that it was kind of like, so B is the opposite. B is saying if you went run over rise, but that's not it. The key is to remember rise over run, okay? Any questions on that? We're good. Okay. Next one. Number 13. If x is greater than 3, which of the following is equivalent to 1 over 1? Oh my goodness, they kill you here. So this isn't so bad. It looks horrible. Yes, we can admit it looks pretty atrocious. We've got a fraction over 2 fractions and all that stuff. But the nice thing is they tell me if x is greater than 3. What's a number greater than 3? 4, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say x is equal to 4. If these are equivalent, it doesn't matter what number I pick. As long as it's greater than 3, any of those options should equal this first one that we're going to do. So the first one is 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. So we want to break it down and we want to focus on the denominator first, right? This is arguably the worst part of it. So I'm going to kind of forget about the numerator at the moment and just focus on this bottom part. So that's the answer there. So now I can go ahead and do 4 plus 6 is?
No, it's 6. So it's 4 plus 2 is 6.
You see, I did it for both of them. I wrote the correct answer instead of writing the number. 6, there we go. And then 1 over 4 plus 3 is 7. Now, adding and subtracting fractions is one of the most annoying things in life, but it's not hard to forget. So, what's the first thing I need to do? Don't tell me we forgot it. We shouldn't have forgotten. I need to find the common
Denominator.
denominator. Thank you, Gray. It's very quiet when I have to sit there. Wait. So the common denominator. Now, 6 and 7, we can agree, don't have very much in common, correct? Can we think off the top of our head a value without multiplying 6 times 7? Can we think of a number that they both equal to? No. So we have to do 6 times 7. And remember, what you do to the top, you do to the bottom. 6 times 7 is?
42.
42, and we have a 7, and we have a 6. So now, 7 plus 6 is?
13.
13. Can I simplify this? right? With 13 on the top, you can't really do much with it. So we have finished with that part. They have been added together. I now only have one fraction, okay? So now I need to go to a second page. Now I'm at 1 divided by 13 over 42. Yes? Okay. Do we remember for dividing fractions, the magical little 3 letters we should know? They might be different from my 3 letters, but they're all the same. So it is, so the way I learned it, and then I will probably use the one that you guys know. The first one is copy, change, flip. I think you guys probably know keep, change, flip. Right? This sounds familiar? A little bit? Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it a little bit. Point is, you keep the numerator, which the numerator is really 1 over 1. You change your division to multiplication, and then you flip the fraction in the denominator. Does that look a little bit more familiar? And now I just multiply across. So that just gives me 42 over 13. So that is my answer that I'm looking for, right? We've only done part 1 of this, which was figuring out that what that first equation equals to when my x is equal to 4, okay? Now, I can pretty much assume which 2 answers am I looking at. If I'm looking at all 4, which are the ones that I know for sure it has to be based on what I've already done?
A and B.
A and B, right? C and D aren't fractions. They're not going to give me a fraction. I'm looking for one that's going to be a fraction. So that means I have to go ahead and I'm looking at A and B. Which one do I want to try first?
I'm gonna say B.
Yeah, I'm going to say B too. So starting off with B, which is x squared plus 5x plus 6, all of that over 2x plus 5. Now remember our x is equal to 4, so I just replace every single x that I see with 4. So 4 squared plus 5 times 4 plus 6, all of that over 2 times 4 plus 5, okay? Doesn't matter which one I want to do first. I'll start with the numerator this time. 4 squared is equal to
16.
16. 5 times 4, that's an easy one, that's 20, plus 6. 2 times 4, 8, plus 5. Now I can just add everything together. Gives me 36 plus another 6 gives me what? 42. So far I'm off to a good start. Check. 8 plus 5?
13.
13. Check. The last thing to look at, does my question say select all that apply? No. So my answer is
B.
B. So the nice thing is you kind of want to look, once you figure out this whole part here, right? you kind of want to look at your two options. Is that how you picked B, Angie?
Yeah, I figured, yeah, like immediately looking at the numerator, I knew that it wouldn't get me 42, so.
Exactly. So you can look and you kind of see that x squared plus 5x plus 6, and you're thinking that might be too much. I'm looking for 13. And if you looked at B and you just replaced the denominator, so you did 2 times 4 plus 5, you would have gotten 13. So that would have been the one you wanted to check. If there was a third option, the third option would have been nice if it also had that 2x plus 5 at the bottom and then something different on the top. Then you would have had to figure out between those two. But they like to make it easier for you. It's boring. Should be more challenging, I think. All right, number 14. 3x minus y equals 12. What is the value of 8 to the over 2y? Ooh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. All right, we're going to skip 14 to avoid confusion. And I'm going to have to look at 14 by myself. Oh, wait, I can check the answer key, though. Hold on. Let's see the answer key. Because if I see the answers, oh, there. This is number, what, 14, right? 14. Yeah, we're going to hold off on 14 because it involves a lot more stuff that we haven't done yet. And I don't want to introduce it now and get confused. Okay, so we're going to hold off on that because it involves some funky stuff. So put a pin on 14. Number 15, we have if ax plus 2 times bx plus 7 is equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 14 for all values of x, and a plus b equals 8, what are the two possible values for c? This is an interesting problem, right? So the first thing we want to look at is what? We know that a and b is going to equal to 8. Okay, but that doesn't really help me right now. So I kind of want to put a pin on that one, and we're going to come back to it. Okay, now this ax plus 2, bx plus 7, we have to do, or well, rather, we're going to do is FOIL. Do we remember FOIL? Was it in your class that someone was like, when are we going to do FOIL? I love FOIL. Why does Maria look at me like no one says anything that they love about math? That's the face Maria just gave. Like who in their right mind would say that? So FOIL is first, outside, inside, and last. Yes? That means that I multiply my first numbers, so ax times bx. I multiply my outside numbers plus 7ax. My inside numbers So plus 2bx, and then the last numbers, plus 14. Does that look familiar? FOIL is very, very popular with polynomials, which is like the best thing ever. Okay, so we have here now all this jumble equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 14. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rework this, right? So if I multiply two variables, right, that really have an exponent of 1, what do I do? Who remembers? I don't know. So when we multiply variables that are the same, that have everything is to the power 1, you add the exponents. So a, b are constants, and I'm going to have an x squared plus 7ax plus 2bx plus 14. Now, this is where we're going to get interesting, right? So we have the x squared and the x squared. Whatever my a, b values are, they're going to equal 15. So the way you have to see this, and it's a little bit weird, but you have, it's really telling you this polynomial is the same as this polynomial. And when you're looking at that, your goal is to match up your letters with the other side. Okay, so my x squared and my x squared. Then I have my x with x. And last but not least, 14. We see how 14 matches up? That's what we're looking for. Only we don't really know any of the other numbers, okay? So we can say AB x squared is equal to 15x squared. And then we can say 7ax plus 2bx is equal to cx. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit weird because we haven't done this yet, but this is something you're going to see. And it might be a little confusing at first, but this is going to be the last problem because I think we're running out of time. So first thing in this situation here, right? I want to kind of figure out A or B. Okay. Conveniently, both sides have an x squared. So I'm going to divide by x squared just to get rid of it. I don't want to see it anymore. Okay. So it's gone. So now AB equals 15. Which letter do we want to figure out first? A or B?
A.
Okay, A. So if I want A by itself, what do I have to do?
Divide by B.
Divide by B. So A is now equal to 15 divided by B. Yes. Okay. Now, things are about to get very, very ugly. Okay. So I'm going to kind of put this equation on the back burner for now. And I'm going to now go back to my A plus B equals 8. Okay, so now I have a value for A. And the nice thing is, I only am going to deal with B in that problem. Okay, so now I replace A with 15 over B plus B equals 8. Okay, so far so good. Yes? Now, I need to get rid of this fraction, so I'm going to multiply by b, which gives me 15 plus b equals 8b. Okay? Now what do I do?
Just combine like terms and add them together.
So I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to subtract by b, which is going to give me 15 equals what? 7b. And now we're going to get another horrible fraction because I have to divide by 7. And that gives me b is equal to 15 over 7. And I'm not done. So I have b is equal to 15 over 7. Okay, now a plus, here's my b, 15 over 7 is equal to 8. Right, it's horrible. I see Angie's face. It's horrible, I know. It's right? But it's fun. It's a little bit more challenging than what we're used to. So now I get to subtract some more fractions because I need to get rid of this guy over here. Which I'm gonna have my a hanging out, waiting for this to be solved. So 8 minus 15 over 7, does 8 and 7 have anything in common without multiplying 8 by 7? Yeah, we're looking at a no there. So 7 is kind of one of those horrible numbers. I have to multiply 7 by 7. Oh no, actually, that's even worse. Oh no, it's not so bad. No, we're fine. It's not going to be bad. Because this is over 1. So I just need to get this here to 7. I don't need to touch the bottom part. I'm trying to hurry. I'm trying to hurry. 8 times 7 is? Yes? Now I'm subtracting 56 by 15. That gives me 41 over 7. So A is equal to 41 over 7. But I'm still not done. And I think we're just about out of time. So we'll have to finish this one next Friday. But we'll see if I find it a faster, easier way than doing all this. But I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And I will see you guys again on Monday. And I will send the link